The baby monitor showed a peaceful, sleeping baby. The dog had been circling the crib for 47 minutes. Only one of them was right. Joanna Ferris had done everything correctly. She had assembled the monitor, tested the audio, confirmed the video feed was clear, placed the sensor pad under the crib mattress, and done this all before her son Teddy was born, the way people who are afraid of something specific prepare for it in advance. She had bought the model with the highest rating and the most reviews. She had read the manual. She had tested the alarm twice. She trusted the monitor the way people trust systems they have thoroughly vetted. It had never given her a false alarm. It had also, as she would later understand, never given her a true one. Their dog, a 6-year-old lab mix named Hector, had been indifferent to the nursery for the 4 months of Teddy's life. He would walk past the door, occasionally pause to listen, sometimes lie in the hallway near it when Teddy was crying, but nothing that registered as anything beyond the ambient presence of a family dog in a house where a baby now lived. Then, one night in February, something changed. Joanna woke at 2:18 a.m. to a sound she had to locate. Not an alarm, not crying, something lower and more persistent. She lay still for a moment, identifying it. Hector's nails on the nursery hardwood. A circular sound. Back and forth, then around, rhythmic in a way that had a quality of purposefulness. She registered before she was fully awake. She went to the nursery. Hector was circling the crib, not wildly, not frantically, the focused, contained circles of an animal performing a task. His nose was elevated slightly as he moved, reading the air in the room with each pass. Teddy was asleep. Teddy appeared entirely fine. The monitor pad showed a steady green light. The audio had no crying. The video on the app showed a sleeping infant. Joanna stood in the doorway for a moment with the dissonance of a system she trusted saying one thing, and an animal she also trusted saying something else. She picked up Teddy. The limpness was enough. Not dramatic. He stirred, he did not wake fully. And the stirring was the wrong quality. She turned on the lamp. She took his temperature. 104.1. She called her pediatrician's after-hours line with a clinical calm she did not feel, and described what she had, and the nurse on the line told her to go to the emergency room now. Subscribe now, because what the monitoring system missed, and what Hector had been detecting for 47 minutes, is something every parent with a baby monitor in their house needs to understand. The emergency room that night was not particularly busy. The triage nurse took Teddy's temperature again. 104.3 it had risen in the car, and they were brought back within minutes. The attending physician, Dr. Ray Almeida, assessed Teddy with the particular focused efficiency of someone managing a febrile infant, which requires speed because the margins in small children are not generous. The source of the fever was an ear infection that had progressed with the aggression that ear infections in infants sometimes progress with, quietly, completely, and then suddenly not quietly at all. Teddy's eardrum had ruptured sometime in the night. The pain that accompanied it had not woken him to crying because 4-month-old infants do not always have the neurological architecture for a pain response that a parent can witness. They sometimes just go still and quiet in a way the monitor interprets as normal. The monitor showed a green light because the sensor pad measured movement and detected breathing. It did not measure temperature. It did not measure the chemical signature of a body in systemic inflammatory response. It did not measure cortisol or fever compounds or the specific volatile organic profile that Hector had been circling the crib to read for 47 minutes before Joanna woke up. Dr. Almeida looked at Joanna and said what she had already begun to understand. Whatever woke you up, it wasn't the monitor. Has your dog ever behaved in a way that told you something was wrong before any alarm or measurement confirmed it? Tell us in the comments. We want to hear every story. Teddy was treated, observed for several hours, and discharged with antibiotics before morning. He was fine. He remains fine. He is now 18 months old and has a complex relationship with hats that the family finds genuinely baffling. Joanna still uses the monitor. She trusts it for what it does, which is what it was designed to do. She no longer expects it to do what Hector does, which is something else entirely. Something that operates in a register the best consumer technology on the market does not yet reach. Hector still sleeps in the hallway outside Teddy's room, not because anyone arranged it. He just stopped returning to the living room at some point in the weeks after February, and the family stopped redirecting him. Some arrangements form on their own when everyone involved has agreed on the logic, even if only one of them can explain it. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who worked the night shift for 4 months without being asked to. If these stories matter to you, subscribe. The next story on this channel involves a dog who was 3 days from being rehomed when the family understood what it had been trying to tell them all along. Joanna found herself thinking about it differently in the months that followed. She had been a researcher before Teddy, 3 years in clinical data before leaving to be home with him. And she thought in data. She thought about what a monitoring system was actually measuring and what fell outside that measurement, and the size of the gap between those two things. The monitor measured movement, breathing rhythm, and video. It did not measure temperature. It did not measure the chemical shift of a body fighting infection. It did not measure cortisol, or inflammatory markers, or the volatile organic compounds that a dog's olfactory system resolves into something it can act on. Hector did not have a screen. He did not have an algorithm. He had 300 million scent receptors and 47 minutes of knowing something was wrong before anyone else in the house did. Joanna wrote this down somewhere. Not to publish, not to send anywhere. Just to have a record of the things she had learned. That the most sophisticated monitoring system in her house ran on 4 legs, required no batteries, and had never once given her a false alarm. That the monitor she had researched and rated and trusted had simply measured what it was designed to measure, and what it was designed to measure was not the thing that mattered on that night in February. She still uses both. She trusts both for what they do. She no longer confuses them for the same thing.